My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. UYA252, sexual assault and battery. This is predatory conduct. These are stalkers who are engaging in what is lying in wait conduct so that they can engage in what is touching while they are stalking. And this is the Ontario Police Department acting vicariously, engaging criminals summoning together while they're stalking as an entity. This is at what is the gang stalking intersection of Palm and G Street, where the people of the state are gang stalking in their homes as well. That's why I'm being sexually assaulted with engineer light, because they're all monitoring and they're facilitating venues which are not private property. P.O.C. 1:26 a.m. Five PRL 155. That's a license plate at 1:38 a.m. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Pay attention. 18MW950. Pay attention. First of all, they're flying through the sun. Okay. Second of all, this is where the third party engaged in criminal summoning at 530 West Holt Boulevard, where he was engaging in sexual assault and battery on behalf of the state with whom he was stalking. That is engaging in what is stalking and monitoring me together with the Ontario police, who utilize criminal summoning to engage in that. And they're doing so with regard to obstruction of justice. He is going to prison. He's a sex offender and he's a terrorist. And there's nothing that is peculiar or even impliedly something that would serve to defame your character while you are identifying terrorists. And that is exactly what he is by virtue of the third party conduct that this sex offender, this terrorist, committed last night. While the entity is engaged in what is stalking by that airport, you're paying attention to what they were doing right here on the video. Flying on the opposite side of the street. And remember, when I go to Stater Brothers, they're flying on this side of the street and they're feigning what is a landing. There's nothing back here. Like I said, there is nothing back here. It's all property. First of all, and the entity is engaging what is vacillating on the side of the street based on where I'm at. The Ontario police are on video gang stalking me with the Ontario International Airport, where they're hovering right here. And in the video behind T York, you'll see them right here at Emporia Place. This apartment's right here under this fake sun right here is the entity that is as though they're landing. But you're looking at them taking off right here above. And none of this is the airport. Okay, Emporia Place right here at Vine and Holt Boulevard. The entity is flying from down yonder, flying through the fake sun, engaging what is stalking me, just like what you see the Ontario Police Department stalking me, conspicuously stalking, while wearing uniforms, bearing guns, and utilizing coercion, threatening me with their guns and weapons and abuse of authority to engage in what is the exercise of fictitious authority regarding a trespass that did not occur. Moreover, there is no trespass in the specific environment regarding documenting the entity that is stalking you through third parties who are not private property. Moreover, you're not going to even utilize those legal principles to engage in what is obstruction of justice, which is what this third party did while he's engaging in sexual assault and battery. The nighttime version of what he committed, molesting me with impossible light while I'm on the adjacent property, moreover, is the daytime. This is the daytime version. He was molesting me with light. So I just want to show you that. And you're looking at the same pattern of conduct. He's going to prison. And this is likely a proponent, not a proponent, this is likely a candidate for deportation. And you are always incorporating all of that which is relevant with regard to prosecuting the government. There is nothing that is racist about that, because racist people utilize deportation and what are their ignorant commentary does not make that racist. But that's coming out of the mouth of somebody that's stalking me and wants to divert away from what the topic is, that you're going to prison. Sergeant Hall, she's a demon. They were standing in Engineer Light right here, engaging in what is audible activity, threatening to commit kidnapping while you are stalking, and psychopaths are dipping behind these buildings where there is no airport. And the next day, while I'm showing you the same stalking conduct, they're flying through the fake sun when they're engaging in what is stalking with light at nightfall. This is stalking with light with that same city of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport, sharing in the kidnappings that that department engaged in as well. They're going to prison. T. York, R. Lilly, Sergeant Hall, Johnson, Elias, and you have what is the other demon that's engaging in with this gang violence. They're all that over presence, all of that just for what is the entity that's engaging what is a call, and they were engaged in criminal summoning. He was stalking me in the video. You can see he's crossing path and stalking, trying to cover up his face, aware of what I'm doing on my device, and you shouldn't be. But they are, because they're demons and they are engaged in surveillance, and the police were stalking, and then that was stalking while they are summoned, talking about things that they know the answers to. That's mentally ill behavior. It's psychopathic. Okay? This is the P.O.C. They're going to federal prison. That was gang conduct, terrorism, and it is all serving to prosecute Mike Lorenz. Mike Lorenz is going to be federally prosecuted with this evidence of the pattern of conduct by the people of the state and that department, serving to put a terrorist leader like Lorenz in federal prison. It is currently 8:01 a.m. at 530 West Holt Boulevard, where I am being molested with engineer light, just like I was last night. And then the entity engaging what is criminal summoning upon documenting their sexual violence while they are stalking me. And you are stalking at a facilitating venue, not on private property. P.O.C. This is the third time the Ontario police flying over the top of me. And pay attention while I'm seated at the pay end. When I'm at this is the same OVITT Family Community Library, but typically I'm at the front end, at the entrance, I'm at the back end, and this is where they're concentrating, and this is where the people of the state are pacing. This is a shadow is moving around their person. They're monitoring. That's called stalking with light. See the shadow that's behind them again, and it's moving to the front? Those are demons who are stalking. And I just walked through their neighborhood, and I documented their license plates, and I documented their house numbers, and the Ontario police that is engaged in surveillance in concert with the people of the state who are the government, not private citizens. They're demon-possessed, vagina-monitoring psychopaths who stalk you without talking to you, without looking at you, without addressing you, and then the entities mysteriously engage in what is criminal summoning. And while they engage in sexual assault and battery, they commit criminal summoning like the terrorist at 530 West Holt Boulevard last night, where that department that is stalking me under fake moon again, and the fake moon is positioned where I'm positioned at the venue, is engaging in what is stalking by helicopter. Like I said, those gang members. Sergeant Hall, that's laughable. She's no sergeant. She's a vagina monitor. Okay, she's all over the place when I'm asking her questions about why she's talking about social media. Okay, this is an entity that's engaging in what is stalking and monitoring, surveillance. And these are the Nephilim that are engaging in stalking in plain sight. They're not minding their business. They're not just walking around taking a view outside. They don't even have a call of nature. They're stalking you in bathrooms. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and they serve the state. They are third parties. This is the Ontario Senior Center. This is the community library, and the entities engaging what is stalking me while I'm documenting. I'm going to put all their addresses and license plates on the internet, because the entity, these stalkers, these demons, are the reason why the Ontario police are stalking me. That's why they filled out a piece of paper about a 602 trespass that did not happen. Nor are you trespassing when the entities engaging what is surveilling you on that property, which is state action, not private property, and it's committed in furtherance of murder. While then those murderers are stalking you in helicopters as you enforce your rights. Those gang members, including Johnson, T. York, R. Lilly, Sergeant Hall, Elias, and Ponce, all those vagina monitoring gang members are going to prison. And I'm continuously documenting evidence speaking to gang violence that I'm subject to, while maniacal, delusional psychopaths are stalking and then having the audacity to wear that gun and badge and exercise authority that they don't have, coercing and engagement and confrontation with them. That's why they're going to prison, because that's a threat to my life. In addition to the people of the state who are stalking obsessively, that's a threat to my life. P.O.C. It is currently 7:03 p.m. This is stalking. That's the Ontario City Hall right there. They're not doing the cartwheels up here over senior citizen apartments is because I'm not sitting up there at that end of the library. They're stalking. And they're stalking while they know video is being captured of them rising in, hovering in plane right here over the Ontario City, which is equally criminal and incriminating to the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Board, the Ontario Executive Team, who are being prosecuted through this documentation that's being published on the internet, where that entity that's being federally prosecuted is watching that ongoing published prosecution. And they are still engaging in that. Flying off to the side is equally stalking. There is no airport behind the City Hall. The University of Laverne College of Law is behind the City Hall. The parking garage. The Ontario Fire Department is gang stalking in relevant position. The entities engaging in what is stalking me where I'm at, just like the Ontario Police Department, under the fake moon. Even the fake moon is in a position where I'm at, positioned at this venue. Look at the video yesterday at 6 p.m. as I walk out of this library at the front entrance. The fake moon is over me while the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:12 p.m. That airport is being shut down.
I just want you to see the Ontario airport stalking. And this is another stalker over here. They're hiding behind little dogs. They're doing so in the engineer light. And the entity is stalking where I'm at the square. They're flying over the city hall and doing so while another vagina monitor is stalking a woman and doing so under the guise of in the engineer light and the environment, all walking my dog while the airport is stalking. The people of the state are maintaining presence, stalking with light. And I'm documenting their license plates. That's a predator. That's a co-conspirator murder. That's a sex offender. Those are the demons that also engage in criminal summoning while they are stalking you. That's why they're going to prison. P.O.C. That's the airport. They're not flying over the this edge of the building where I'm sitting at the entrance of the library. They're stalking where I'm at. That's a whole airport that is being shut down. That's the fake moon, no longer over the building of the library anymore. Stalking. He's a stalker. They're all stalking. And they are demons. All those gang members at 530 West Holt Boulevard, the Ontario Police Department, focused on my social media, making a whole bunch of admissions regarding you know exactly who I am. While you're making, asking questions about, oh, did you say this? Did you say that? There's psychopaths who are monitoring and stalking me, and they're being diagnosed in that malicious audible activity. Johnson, T. York, R. Lilly, Elias, Sergeant Hall, all those gang stalking psychopaths who are monitoring. They're all gang stalking and they are going to prison. And these stalkers are engaging in surveillance at the Ontario Town Square. They're psychopaths stalking under things like fake suns and fake moons. It's surveillance in the United States. Metro 102, I'm going to prosecute. 280 North Limit Apartments, I'm going to prosecute. Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, I'm going to prosecute. The entity, this is the city of Ontario, Ontario Town Square, I'm going to prosecute. The entity has a whole fake moon where I'm under surveillance at this venue. And those are sex offenders. Stalking a woman, that's literally what he's doing. He's not a man, he's a stalker, and he's a third-party agent. And the government is acting through the population license 8 MQB 382.
All right, the entity is monitoring on my device, interfering with the internet, which everybody is looking at what I'm consuming online, keeping me under surveillance as though the entity is going to control my life. You're controlling what I consume. They're going to manipulate the circumstances. These are all demons who are psychotic. They've already lost with regard to being prosecuted, going to prison, and being diagnosed. They are still engaging in gang stalking. You're witnessing that. I'm documenting what is ongoing surveillance on the video of the internet. Demons that are interfering with internet connection because under the psychotic delusion, if I don't watch a video, then I'm not going to think this about this person, and then they're going to be able to trick me and come into... These are psychopaths. Jason Isaac Fields is a stalker. He's going to federal prison. He's Tracy Banks' sex partner. He's a homosexual male engaging in what is perverted sexual conduct because he's been spiritually attacking. He's a witch. He's been engaged in the pattern of conduct. He's not coming anywhere near me. And there's no YouTube video that's going to change that. The entity's engaged in what is interference with internet connection pursuant to criminal stalking, federal stalking, while they're engaging in what is keeping me under surveillance with the people of the state. They're all monitoring what I'm looking at on the internet. They're all stalking while the entity follows me around with commercial planes, doing so in this manner. This is P.O.C. License plate, co-conspirator of murder, license plate 9 Wendy Victor Mary 417. That's the government. Doing so as a population, knowing exactly what's going on with your genitalia between your legs, summoning the gang members that are stalking in helicopters while you document those psychopaths. That's why they're going to prison. And they're demons that are targeting with impossible light activity, knowing where you are and what you're doing. Also what's going on between your legs and what's going on your phone. P.O.C. This is relevant to monitoring me on the video of the internet. And this is the ongoing confirmation. Jason Isaac Fields is an unlawful threat. This is a co-conspirator of my murder. And there is no internet connectivity that's going to change the fact if that psychopath, that rapist, that homosexual stalker comes anywhere near me after having stolen from me and conspired with Tracy Banks and every other gang member, just like the Ontario police, he's going to federal prison for that as well, because he's going to federal prison. This is public because there's no secrets here. It will be all over the internet and I will be embarrassing him. He's already embarrassed now. He's not coming anywhere near me, and you will not engage in terrorism. You are a terrorist with the U.S. military. You walk around bearing weapons. You come around me, that's a prosecutorial suicide while you're gang stalking. The audacity of a gang stalker, just like the gang members of the Ontario police, is not different, and he's going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, while the entity is stalking me at the Ontario Town Square, which is a threat to my life, following me around, which is also punctuated, underscored with the entity stalking me under things like a fake moon. This entity that's doing this stuff with this fake sun and fake moon, they're psychotic. This is the documentation showing how much of a threat that Jason Isaac Fields is. These are demons. This is the Nephilim. The audacity of this demon to come anywhere near me will be what is the prolonged sentence in prison. He's not getting out. You stole from me. You act like we were married. We never were, and I never would. I'm not into gay men. I'm not into dudes that have sex with people that I'm related to or people that are acting like they're my friends. I'm not into people that try to kill me. It's not going to happen. And there are no secrets. That's why it's all throughout my evidence. And if you come anywhere near me while you're interfering with my internet connectivity, still gang stalking me, having the audacity to come into my presence, you will regret it. This is P.O.C. You're going to prison while the Ontario police are gang stalking me as an entity, which you are being prosecuted for. P.O.C. It's currently 9:54 p.m.